Hi there. Is there a guarantee to success? For the majority of what we consider success, if you have financial stability, you have success, right? If you have a whole lot of now, let me just say this: that I don't believe in the greedy way to success, or the needy way to success. If you're needy enough to become successful, you will lean into greed, and you will also lean into a lot of struggles. Things do tend to come a little bit more, I'm not going to say easy to everybody, okay? But things tend to come a little bit more easier to a person who does not force. Now, when you're in a situation, okay, just let me realistic. When you're in a situation and you need money, and I mean, when you need it, let's use our word need in this place. A need means it's like there's a big gaping hole, and that's where need it lives. You need to fill that hole, right? The craziest thing about how, whether it's energy, whether it's rules and principles in the spiritual realm, whatever, the more needy you are, and I found this by experimentation, I mean, of course, forced experimentation, is that things have a tendency to repel, to not come as easy. And I found that when I was kind of just on a nice plateau, everything else seemed to just happen. I could even ask it within, I could even have a desire, and it tends to show up more quickly. Now, honing and developing the path of faith, because faith is very potent. Okay, it really does take sometimes not a long lifetime, hopefully, but when faith kicks in your life, wherever and however you see it, it really is powerful. It says faith is a substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. I'm going to pull two words of those two sentences. It says one, it's substance, because it operates with substance. It's not emptiness. It's not. It need you require, and you got to move away from the word need to I require this. Change in your language. Faith has a language, right? And the thing is about substance, you take a whole bunch of small things and you build it up, you end up with something big. That is manifestation. That's evidence, right? And is there a guaranteed way to success? One guy would say it's through desperation, another would say it depends upon inspiration. It must have a motivation. Poor people who've come to rich countries are are more desperate because they see the possibilities more strongly, and they're more apt to act with more deliberate action, more than people who take it for granted. And you see, the thing is about people who take it for granted, it's a weird, crazy thing how that works, is that they have a tendency to have a very strong support system, right? I'm not saying it's always the case, but the majority of the times it is. Certain cultures and races, and I mean, I this is through careful study, will have their very culture, their very nationality will give them a more of a welcome calling card than, let's say, another culture or groups of people who come into the environment that find successes there. Like there was a time in the United States they would call it the American dream. An American dream basically means that, hey, it's possible in this land, right? Now there was four runners in the back who made those things possible through a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, right? Whereas more now, there's so many different avenues that can make success a reality. If your brain kicks in for whatever you find, I'll give you an example. They used to have an old game they used to play called Punch Buggy, right? And if people look enough for a buggy, like a Volkswagen, they would say punch buggy, right? Because they saw one, right? Boom. But because they were looking for it, right? Where you focus on deeply enough, it will eventually, if not immediately, show up because your entire substance has kicked in. People who go looking for work and looking for a certain type of work deliberately will find work. Now, here's a kicker. There is a sacrifice to everything. When you depart from, you give up dignity, you give up your honor, you give up honor, period, to find success, right? Need and greed are closely related. You will still find it, but it comes at a sacrifice. And we live in a world today that even though we may look around, we'll say people on different social levels, we say to ourselves, oh, they're successful. Well, if we look deeper, they're not really successful. They found a thing called success, but they've lost a lot of things along the way, which includes themselves. They lose themselves in the process. That's where Jesus would say, was a prophet man if he gains the whole world and loses his soul, right? So they become soulless. They've lost the spark in their eyes. There's a song by Pink Floyd that talks about that, when you were young, you were all basically all like sparks and lights and everything else. But now I look in your eyes as you get older and I see the like black holes in the sky. Shine on, you crazy diamond. That's the name of the song, right? You said you reach for the secret too soon. And where I'm going with this is that success has a price. And that depends. And now, blessed is a man or the woman who finds success and have not left or lost their dignity along the way. Because a lot of people do. A lot of people do. And the thing is about need has a language. And need will do many things to get what they want, right? Now, the thing is, difference between need and want, those are languages, is that a person who doesn't need, but a person who approaches, and this may sometimes take a lifetime, but a person who approaches what they desire, they see the end result from faith. It's not need anymore, it's a requirement. So the language change, and they're still able to walk with dignity. I'll say this with confidence. There's jobs that I've walked into, and just because of the faith, Brimin, faith, not I was able to, but the faith, the God stuff was able to speak to the environment and have favor. And I was able to receive. When I began to associate with people who did not share in those values, I began to operate the way they do. And my prayers even became from a needy place, a wanty, a beggar place. God, by the way, does not listen to beggars. He listens to his language. Faith is powerful, man. Do I believe there is a realm of high possibility, a realm, a world where things can be attained? You bet I do. A man can a bit with enough experience can know how to play the stock market, and without anyone tell him differently, he with a knowing he can play the right stock, but because of experience, he's able to have because he played the right stock. It is the same with the game of life. And it's sad that it is a game. But success can be had with effort, not with how can I put it, with lazy effort, not with needy effort where you gotta force it. Things repel that way. The value of success really just lies in that person's hand who operates from the realm of faith. And if you want real success in life, I would say take some time. Now, if you are in a position and you listen to my video and go, well, this doesn't help me right now, do me a favor. Just go spend, if you could spend 24 hours or 8, 10 hours out of that day completely messed up over not having what you would like, do me a favor. Go silently somewhere and just start talking God for an hour. Get everything out. Let it just pour out of you. And something will begin to happen. Now, I don't know if it's scientific. I personally, I believe it's God. Okay. Something leaves you and something comes back in. Jesus says, ask and it will be given. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be opened. And one is the place of not begging, come asking. Next is that something about the asking starts to change the way you start seeking. You don't even know how a thought can come out of nowhere. A person can show up in your line of communication in your life during that time frame. Some snippet of words, something in a song, and all of a sudden you just find it was just a right enough and on an atom level enough to move you to the next level, to knock and a door will be open. That's persistence. That's when you have enough that you can actually start persisting, because people persist on how can I put it, a certain type of inspiration, but it's not enough to get them like a train, going. They need something else. And that's a something else that comes from above, that comes from other places. I would say that the I believe it's a guarantee in success is that back away from it. And if you're in dire need, and like really, I mean, where need is really like, this is it, you're subjected to it. It's got to happen now, right? Then do me a favor. Find people in your life and ask them, and do yourself a bigger favor. Do not open your mouth to people who are going to keep you on the same level that they're at. Find people, prayer lines, go into churches and find those people that emanates. There's something that you want to hear that lifts you up, because you are an air being. You're just not a body, right? But more than anything else, don't open your mouth too big, and don't share with people who are not care for you or even believe in you in any way, shape, or form. You don't in any way, shape, or form require them. And I keep out of my language, need and want. Be very watchful. Even write down, I require this, I require that. It's something to the effect of, it's coming to me because I'm worthy of it. And if you have the character and you have the goods for it, approach it. And when you go in, if you get the interview, call the interview into your life. And when you walk in an interview, without saying a word, begin to communicate from your mind or wherever, your faith. And you talk to that room and say, I'm the best person for this position. And I've proven it, man. It really does work. Getting back to this one very important thing, the seasons of the dip in your life will be because of the majority of times it will be because somebody's working something on you, and you got to figure out where it's coming from. A lot of times when things are happening in your life is because something is going on in a hidden world, and you got to pay attention. Sometimes you got to back away from the immediate dilemma and back away and say, okay, what's going on around my life? What's going on? And if you pray enough, even if you go into the area of losing stuff, food, don't eat. Make it so it's so serious. Don't eat. Eat is powerful too. Don't not eat, and it's just called fasting, right? Whatever it takes in the spiritual world, and God will quicken you, and you'll know, and you'll have that prayer. It's called the arrow prayer, and you block, prevent, stop, boom. That person may not even realize they're doing it. Boom. It'll just shake them. And all of a sudden they disconnect. All of a sudden, and that's not a thing you don't want in your life, or I should say want, you don't require. You don't require people's attention on you. Really important. Man, I've proven this over and over again. Unwanted attention will bring unwanted results, because when they are coming into your life, they're vibrating their own life into yours. And it's called trespassing. And I'll leave you with that. The guarantee to your success, things are happening in and around your life. That is why things are going on. Some things can take months before it shows up in your life. But when it does, be very aware, and it's time for your growth, because you'll come out of it. Something else I discover, nothing lasts. Nothing is forever. Nothing. Everything is a season. And when you snap out of it, man, all of a sudden it will show up, whatever it is. And above all else, be very well aware. And I'll put on another video. Your associations will either make you or break you. And one thing that other people have said, and I do believe this too, get out in nature, man. Whatever's going on in your life, my encouragement, inspiration to you, get away, get out in nature. Something has to happen, because you're never alone in your existence. There's so many other forces that are at work. A bird may come and tell you something that you may go, wow, I never would have saw that. You know, something you require in nature may just be enough. If animals, Jesus said this, do not worry what you can put on. Do not even be concerned what you can eat. Consider the birds and how God feeds them, the flowers that he adorns so beautifully. How much more are you worth, oh you of little faith? I don't ever just speak to you. I speak this to myself. And I've had to cry many times before God. But I tell you something, He answers. He answers, because this is bigger than you. You're part of something huge. Okay, you're not alone. Like and subscribe, and you have a good day, and be inspired, man. Even just the tone of my voice speaking to you is enough. Just enough. Just a tiny little substance of faith. All it takes. If your faith is a mustard seed, Jesus said, you can speak. And by the way, it's not about faith. Faith speaks. Speak to the mountain and say, be removed and be cast into the sea. It may not happen immediately, but it will happen. Guaranteed. Because this is the laws of the universe, God's cosmos. Have a good day. Thank you.